Hi, in this video we are going to talk about expressing cause and effect while we learn about simple machines. To begin, please let me ask you to match each of the following words with its picture. You're going to take a moment, you can pause my video, complete the activity, and I will see you in a moment to show you the answers. Alright? Pause my video, complete the activity, please. Alright. I hope that you did complete the activity. And let's see the answers. So this is a lever. This is a wheel. This is a wedge. This is an inclined plane. This is a screw. And finally, this is a pulley. Great. Great job. So now, please let's read the following text about simple machines. Let's read it together. These are like definitions of these simple machines. A lever is a simple machine that consists of a beam of rigid rod pivoted at a fixed hinge. All right? So, as you can see, a lever is a simple machine that performs the action of lifting things if we have some support, a point on which the bar pivots. All right. A wheel is a circular device, probably that's the most known to you, that is attached to a rigid bar at its center. That's a wheel. An inclined plane is a surface set at an angle to another surface. So that is a simple machine. A wedge is often considered a double inclined plane that moves to exert a force along the lengths of the sides. That is a very good definition of a wedge. A screw is a shaft that has an inclined groove along its surface. That is a very nice definition of a screw. A pulley is a wheel that carries a flexible rope, cord, cable, etc. on its rim. With that, we can lift things. All right? Let me ask you some simple questions to make sure that we understood the basic definitions in this text. Which of the above machines is circular? That is a very simple question. The answer is the wheel. Yes. Which one of the machines could be used to hold two objects together? Okay, I have two objects together. I need to hold them. I have two objects. I need to hold them together. I use a screw. You have to think about it a little longer, I know. Now, which of the machines can be used to lift heavy things? Well, actually, several of those machines could work. If we want to lift it, and not just move it, I think we would go for a pulley. If we just want to move it a little bit, we could use a lever, right? But if you thought about the answer, that is the most important thing. All right. Thinking about simple machines and with examples related to that, I will ask you to think with me for a moment about cause and effect. How do we express cause and effect? All right. Cause and effect, of course, implies something causes an effect. All right. Let me give you one example with which we can understand how this cause and effect works. And with that, we are going to see which words in English or which phrases in English we can use to express that relationship of cause and effect. All right. If I have these two sentences, I pushed the door. All right. I pushed the door. And the other sentence is the door opened. What causes what? I pushed the door is the cause, and the door opened is the result, is the effect, right? So there are several ways in which we can connect those two sentences to express cause and effect. We can use some conjunctions. For example, we can use because, and I can say the door opened because I pushed the door. So because is followed immediately by the what? The cause, like be the cause being, the cause is. So I can say the door opened because I pushed the door. No matter how I say it, the because will be followed by the cause. So I could say the door opened because I pushed the door, or because I pushed the door opened. So immediately after because follows the cause. All right. If I say as, let's see how it worked. As I pushed the door opened, or the door opened as I pushed the door. Same as because. Since I pushed the door opened, or the door opened since I pushed it. Yeah. And how about so? Think about it for a moment. I pushed the door, so, like as a result, so the door opened. So is followed by the effect. You see? All right. So let's think about these other words. These transitions, we call them connectors. These are also some phrases that may not be particularly some conjunctions, but these phrases can help us express cause and effect. How about this one? Therefore. Therefore is one word that not necessarily can be included as part of the same sentence in which the two clauses appear. Like, I opened the door, so I pushed the door, so it opened. That'll be one simple sentence. We could say, I pushed the door, period. I stop. Then I start with, therefore, comma, the door opened. So these words can help us transition from one idea to another. We may work them into one single sentence, yes, but let's say that there are some phrases that per se can help us think of a transition between one moment and another, one idea and another. Oh, the same thing happens with consequently. I pushed the door, period. Consequently, the door opened. I pushed the door, and as a result, it opened. That could be one single sentence. So I pushed the door, period. As a result, comma, the door opened. And finally, there may be some prepositions. They are not conjunctions, they are prepositions because they are followed by a noun, prepositioned to a noun. And we could express cause and effect with these. For example, we could say due to. Due to is followed by a noun, so we need to say the door opened due to my push, or due to the push that I gave it, or due to my pushing, all right? Or because of the push that I gave to the door, it opened. So these prepositions, we have to be careful with those because they are always followed by a noun, all right? So next time you think of, next time you see one of these words or expressions, think about, okay, one is the cause of another. This is particularly important, especially in reading comprehension tests or situations where we have to understand what happened. So we can use these markers as a way of seeing, okay, which is the cause, which is the effect. All right? Let's put this into practice. I'm going to ask you to please complete the following sentences with the appropriate words from the word bank to express cause and effect. And I have these words for you, or these expressions. As a result, because, since, so, and therefore. So I have here these sentences or statements about simple machines, and you are going to think about which one of those expressions works better to complete each of those sentences. All right? I'm going to ask you to pause my video, complete the activity, and I will see you in a moment with the answers. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for having completed the activity. And here I have the answers for you. You may see that some may work in more than one sentence. That is fine. What is important is that we express the relationship between the cause and effect correctly. Okay, the first one. You can move that big rock with a lever, blank. The bar pivots over that smaller rock and you apply force at the other end of the bar. All right? So you can move that big rock with a lever because that will work fine. We could say so. No, we cannot say since. Oh yeah, you could say since. Since the bar pivots, you could say because or since there. Good, good, good. Thank you. Next, the table has very heavy legs. Period. You must use the biggest screws to attach them. You could say, therefore, yeah, so because of what happened before that, it has heavy legs, you must use bigger screws. I don't know if we could say as a result. No, it's not a result. You could say so you must. Yes, you could use so, but I think because we have a period there, it's better to use therefore. So we have used so far because and therefore. Next, we used a measuring wheel. It's one wheel that keeps track of the distance that it has spinned so that we know the distance between the moment, since the moment we started spinning it until we stop. And then we can have a measurement of a surface, for example, that is irregular, that we cannot use a measuring tape, a regular measuring tape for measuring. We used a measuring wheel to measure the irregular perimeter, and as a result, we finished the job in half the time. Yes, because that is a very useful tool. Next, we needed to draw water from the well. So we installed a pulley to lift it in a bucket. Nice. So, and the last one, you already know the answer. Since the wedge had already separated the two halves of the log, a log is a piece of wood, you already looked it up, it was easier to cut it. Yes, with an axe, we use that. We use an axe, and the wedge is a very useful tool, simple machine to facilitate the work. All right, now I am going to pause my video so that you can practice the pronunciation of these expressions, these sentences, these statements by the native speaker, and you repeat after her. All right, so listen, practice your pronunciation, please.
You can move that big rock with a lever because the bar pivots over that smaller rock and you apply force at the other end of the bar. The table has very heavy legs. Therefore, you must use the biggest screws to attach them. We used a measuring wheel to measure the irregular perimeter and, as a result, we finished the job in half the time. We needed to draw water from the well, so we installed a pulley to lift it in a bucket. Since the wedge had already separated the two halves of the log, it was easier to cut it.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for having practiced the pronunciation of these statements, these sentences, and especially for thinking about cause and effect, the relationship between clauses that can express cause, consequence, effect, and which words we use to indicate such relationship. All right, thank you very much for your hard work, and I will see you in the next video.